Hi, welcome to my email marketing course. In this course, you are going to learn what email marketing is and how to set up an email marketing autoresponder. We're going to be using ActiveCampaign, but you can use any autoresponder. I just wanted to pick one so that we could go and build it together. So I opened up a demo account and we're both going to start from scratch and we're going to learn everything there is about it so that you will totally understand what you're getting into and why. Now, if you understand what email marketing is and you're already convicted that you already know that you need this in any business, then go on to the next video because you don't really need this. We're going to go over why email marketing is important and why you have to have it for your business. A lot of people, when they're new, do not understand this. And I was one of them. I kept saying, I don't want to do email marketing. That's not what I want to do. And until I did, some training and I understood it and saw the results that I got from it, that was when I understood why it was so important. So don't be like me. You jump in and understand it now early in your business and do it right. So the first reason we want to talk about is email marketing can increase the value of your customer. So let's say you're in sales and you're selling a product. So maybe you have a website and you have products all listed that you're selling, and maybe they're even connected to Amazon, or we will use that as an example. A lot of people that sell products will connect links to Amazon, boop, right to Amazon. Well, that's great. You may sell a product, they went over there, they bought it, and you got a commission, but then you never contact that person again. And the value of that customer is whatever the cost was of that product. So let's say they bought a $50 item. You know that you never want to spend more than $50 because you gained $50. So you want that to always break even, or you always want to come out ahead, if that makes sense. Once you start spending more than what you have coming in, then that's not good value. So how can I increase the value of a customer? In other words, how can I get them to buy more? Let's go back to your website. So now you have a website and you have been posting about camping equipment and all these different places people can go, and you've really convinced people that they need to buy this special tent to camp somewhere. But to get that information, you get them to fill out their email address. So you've captured their email address, then they get to hit that link and see that wonderful tent, or maybe a selection of tents that they can buy. Then they buy it and you're like, okay, well, I made a sale. But in the meantime, you also collected their email address. Now you can go back and start emailing them and talking about sleeping bags and some cooking equipment, different things that they can use to make their camping experience more fun. And then you've turned that $50 customer into maybe a $200 customer. So you've increased the value from just that one person. And it took a lot less effort than if you had to go out and find more people. And the neat thing about email marketing is it can be automated. That's what's amazing about it. Once you do the work, and we call this the back end work, where you go in and you set up automated emails, they'll just work for you. And that's where passive income comes in. But it takes work to get it set up. Now, the second, and I think the most important reason that you want an email list is because you own it. Let's think about, there was a time, Facebook, Instagram, all the different social media platforms, people were making lots of money using like Facebook business pages. They were selling things directly right through their links, and it was no problem. They were getting like 40% of people liking things and seeing things and clicking them. And again, Amazon links and all that. Well, all of a sudden, Facebook started thinking, well, we want to cut in that. We want to make money from that. So they started making it harder for people to get exposed. Facebook has 100% control over how much exposure you get. You can have 10,000 people on your Facebook page, but that doesn't mean all 10,000 people will always see what you have to offer. And so all the likes and things, they just drop to like 5%. Actually, even recently, I know of a couple, they have a huge, very profitable online business, and they've been doing everything by the book. Recently, their Facebook group page just got shut down, and they had like 15,000 people in that group, and it really put a dent into their business. And a lot of it had to do with just a couple little laws that they weren't following to the T the way Facebook thought they should, and they shut them down. So the point is, if you own your list through an autoresponder, then nobody can ever take that away from you. So you might say, yeah, but if I use an autoresponder, a place that collects my emails like ActiveCampaign, ActiveCampaign owns them, and can't they shut me down? No, because you have the ability to export that list, which you want to do. You want to make sure you have ownership of that list and export it every so often to make sure you have those email lists. And here's another neat thing about it. Let's say you're in multi-level marketing and you're selling a product, let's say Young Living. I'm going to use that as an example. And you've created this huge list of names and you're using email marketing. You're always selling them different products and different oils that you have. So you're making sure people are aware of all the current facts about your Young Living oils and things like that. Young Living could go out of business. Okay, so now you're sitting here with all these names. You're thinking, okay, so I have my email list. That doesn't help me. But see, now you've collected a list of people, an audience that knows you, they like you, and they trust you. And through that email, you can tell them that my company just went out of business. You can give the story or whatever, but this is something I found that's comparable. I've done some research and this is where I'm going instead. And they will follow you because you own the list and they trust you. They wouldn't be accepting your emails and opening them and following you and buying your products if they didn't. So those are the two big reasons. You want to increase the value of your customer, keep having the ability to automate and offer them more products, and two, you want to be able to own that list and keep growing that list. The bigger the list is, the more likely you are to make more sales. It's a numbers game at that point. So this is why you want email marketing. There is a link below for ActiveCampaign. Like I said, if you want to build it along with me, feel free to get that 30-day free trial before we move on. And in the next video, we're going to talk about how it works and some of the different terminology. We're going to say vocabulary since I've got a teacher background, but what is the vocabulary associated with autoresponders? What do all these words mean? And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. So I'll see you there. Welcome back to email marketing. Today we're going to learn about the vocabulary used in email marketing, or the terms. I like to use the word vocabulary for my teacher background, but these are the words that we're going to learn the terms for: autoresponder, lists, tags, triggers, campaign, automation, deliverability. Some of these terms are used differently in different autoresponders. All of these are the terms that are used with ActiveCampaign. If I know of other words that are used for the same action, I will share those as we go. But don't be surprised if you go to MailChimp or Aweber or one of the other, there's ConvertKit. If you go to one of the other autoresponders, some of these terms might not be used exactly the same. But you'll get the idea. They all have the same functions, but they just might use a different word. So let's go ahead and start talking about what is an autoresponder. An autoresponder is a tool that we use to send out emails, and we want to send them out typically in mass quantities, and you can't really use a free account like Gmail or Yahoo or anything like that. They typically will shut you down if you try. There's people that are sending 5,000, 10,000 emails at a time. You're starting out new, so you don't have to worry about that, but you want to have an autoresponder that allows you to grow to those huge numbers, because if you're serious about your business, it's better to use an autoresponder now than to try to sneak it in using one of those free ones, because you definitely will get shut down in those accounts. So this is, I mentioned this in the video before, and if you didn't watch it because you already know what email marketing is, this is the landing page for ActiveCampaign. What we're going to do during this course is we're going to build up our account. So I opened up a demo account so that we can build together from scratch. If I sat here and showed you an account with thousands of contacts, it can get a little confusing. So I thought it might be best just to bring you in, start from scratch. This is exactly what you see. So if you open up your ActiveCampaign account, you will build it with me. Now today we're not going to build anything. We're not going to learn how to use anything. We're only going over terminology or vocabulary. I went ahead and put myself in there as a contact, so I'm already in there. And we'll talk about all of these different words. The neat thing about an autoresponder is I just said it will send out emails, but it will send them out automatically. I mentioned this in the last lesson. you can set up a list of contacts, 10,000, wouldn't that be wonderful? And send emails automatically. This autoresponder will send them out and send them when you tell it to and how you tell it to, and we're going to talk about all those different ways, and you don't have to do anything. Now you have to set it up. There is that work in the beginning, but once you get it running fluidly and it's working well, then you just need to come in and tweak it, if that makes sense. But the work is done in the beginning. So hopefully what we do today will get you off to, or in this course will get you off to a really, really good start. So there's your landing page. There is a link below for ActiveCampaign. I have another link down there for Aweber if you'd prefer to use Aweber instead. That's one that I started with, and then I went over to ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign seems to do more, but a lot of people don't tend to move over until their list is bigger, because when you're new, you're always looking for free and cheap. When you get free and when you look for cheap, that's what you get, cheap. So it's your choice, but there are 2 links below if you would like to use those. All right, so an autoresponder, like I said, is a tool to send your emails. You can't do it yourself. You have to use a tool. All right, let's go to the next word. The next term is lists. Every autoresponder has you create some type of a list. Sometimes they might call it a form or something like that. Everything I have seen, they're always called a list. And this is a list that you put your contacts on. When you add people, when you collect their email, that they're called your contacts. And then you put them into different lists. Now, I know some people that have suggested, that have been around for a while, and they say, I just like to have 2 lists. One list is for people that never have bought anything, and the other list is for people that have already purchased. It's up to you. You can get very complicated, or you can keep it really simple. I suggest in the beginning to keep it simple, and once you really get a flow going and you understand what you're going, then you can start really branching off. But right here in ActiveCampaign, you would just click the list button, and you could give the list a name, and you could say, this is a list of all the people that purchased my YouTube course. This is a list of all the people that did not buy anything yet. This is a list of all the people that came in from this landing page that I had. Now you might say, well, how do I get people onto my lists? You can go in and add people manually. Like, let's say you met somebody face to face and you told them about your newsletter and they were very interested. Maybe you're into health and fitness and you like to share different tips on how to lose weight, how to stay fit, and you happen to meet them in the grocery store and they say, yes, I'd like to be a part of that. Well, you can go in and add them manually to the list. You can also import people by automation. And one of those ways is like this. This is a landing page where I offer an online business startup guide, and people will give me their email address and their name, and then I collect it. It actually goes right to my autoresponder and fills in that list. So I go in and I tell it exactly where I want those people to be. So that's how automated this is. That's the beauty of using the autoresponder and having an email list. You can also capture people's email list from your WordPress. I Googled WordPress. I was trying to look for examples, but it was interesting. It brought me to a WordPress beginner site that somebody created. It's their blog. And then right away, this popped up. This person, I Googled WordPress and I went to I hit the link, and right away this popped up. Give me your name and email address and I'll give you some free resources. So this person wants me to get on their email list, and then they're going to try to sell me something. Now, if they're good, they're going to warm me up and get to know me, or help me get to know them. And we'll talk about that in the future videos. But right now I want you to think about, how do you capture these? You can capture them in funnels. You can capture email lists on a website. You can capture them on a storefront. Some people just have a page that's like a storefront, and when people go to buy something, they capture that email before they let them purchase. And Kohl's does that. If you notice, sometimes if you go to the store, a lot of times they'll say, do you want to give us your email address? And I remember when that first happened and I did not understand what they were doing. Sure, I'll give you my email address. And then all of a sudden my email is bombarded with all these emails. But you You've been out there, and that's what people are doing. They're building up this email list because they want to own it and they want to get more value from you and sell you more stuff. Now, the next word is tags. What are tags? Now, the email itself is called a contact. And I'm going to, like I told you, I put myself in here as a contact so that you could see. And I want to show you how I added some tags. Normally, the tags are added automatically. So when you just saw the landing page that I had where people could sign up for that startup guide for a business, I can tag that startup guide. So I know people entered that list. They entered my autoresponder with that tag. So I know they all had that same interest. This is a group of people that are looking to start a business. Now I could get more specific. I could have other landing pages that I have another free course that I offer for affiliate marketing. So those people will come in and I know that they're really interested in affiliate marketing, not just a business, but affiliate marketing. So that gives them, it gives me more information about them. Now to put a tag manually, you just open the person's name, and then you can add tags. Now down here you can see I have a tag added to my name that says affiliate marketer. So as a customer, I may have come in from a landing page and I showed interest in affiliate marketing. And like I said, the tags are added automatically when they come in from the different sources for them to sign up for your newsletter. Typically they call it a newsletter, but it is an email sequence or email automation system. So those are tags. And like I said, we'll talk about how you can add them manually later, but this one's already added. It says affiliate marketing. So why would I want to tag? So maybe I want to send out a sequence of emails all about affiliate marketing. Maybe I want to talk about different products, different ways they can build their business. Well, I don't want to talk to people who aren't interested. Remember, I had that other list of people that were only interested in building a business, but I wasn't sure what kind of business. So I don't want to send them information if it's stuff that they don't want, because then people are just going to unsubscribe. This helps you to streamline and really go in and target people based on their interest. I can also use tags in the opposite way. Let's say I have a tag on people that purchased something from me, and then maybe 10% of my list have purchased something and maybe 90% of them have not. I can go in and say, send this email to everybody except the people that have purchased, because maybe I'm trying to target them again or retarget them. I might even be sending some of the same type of emails where I've got different headings, a little bit. Maybe I tweak the emails a little bit, but it's still the same offer. Maybe they didn't open it before. I'm not going to bother or bug those people that are already purchased. So I could say, send it to everybody except these people. So you can do it either way. Now I want to talk about triggers. Triggers is something, exactly what it says. It triggers something to start. In your autoresponder, when you're at the beginning of your sequence, there's going to be the top where it's going to say, when a name comes in, okay, you've captured a name from a landing page or from a web page, and I'm going to give you some examples. You can capture them from forms, which is like a landing page, and they bring that person's contact name in, and then it will trigger the email sequence that you have developed. So all of this works together. So let's go back to my example, the online business guide. Somebody puts their email in, they put their address, their name in, and then I have an integration set up. I have my landing page set up in ClickFunnels or some kind of landing page software tool. It could be Lead Pages or something else. And then I tell it when the person hits that button and gives me their email address, it's going to integrate with my autoresponder, ActiveCampaign. And then ActiveCampaign says, oh, this person has a tag that says online business. It goes to this email sequence and then it triggers it and it will start sending out those emails. Now, the emails will be set up, and you set them up yourself, where number one might go out that day or automatically, instantly, as soon as they trigger it. And you might welcome yourself. You might say, hey, I hope you enjoy the guide. If you have any questions, contact me. blah, blah, blah. And then maybe 2 days later, you might have it triggered to send out another email. And that email could talk about maybe one part of that plan that I sent out. I could say, did you notice in step 3, blah, 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 you could do this, this, or that. But I'm warming them up. I keep talking about something that they're interested in, and I keep them alert. I keep them interested in something that they got for free. And I can set this up any way I want. I like to set it up every 2 to 3 days so that I stay in front of their face, but I'm not annoying them. I know some people that like to send emails every single day, and I have found myself when I get something from somebody every single day, I start to ignore it. But the ones that I like that are really sending me good value, sometimes I'm sitting here going, where's their email? It's been 2 days. I want another one, because they're really good about sending value. And that's the person you want to be. Now, how do people trigger this to start? And we talked about the landing page, and that's typically called a form. A landing page is called a form. And here's an example. I gave you the one example, but here's an example here. You might go to a website and it'll say, fill this out. Here's another example. You see them all over the place where they want you to send information. Those are called forms, and that triggers the email sequence. The integration is what triggers the landing page. This is the landing page, or the form that triggers the email to go to the autoresponder. So those are the two things that are triggered. Okay, your integration, and then it triggers it into your email. The form triggers your integration, then it triggers your email sequence. All right, so let's talk about our next thing that we want to talk about is campaign. What is a campaign? A campaign is also sometimes called a broadcast. I've heard it said both ways. And basically, remember I kept talking about you have an email sequence and everything is automated. Well, there's going to be times that you want to come in live to your group, and actually it keeps it fresh and it lets people see what's going on currently. Because one of the drawbacks that I have found when people set up their email sequence, if you set one up and leave it there for like 5 years and never go back and touch it, it's not going to be current. I've looked at some people's emails and I thought, you don't look anything like you did on the current things that I'm seeing. So you do want to take time and go back in and refresh things. And sometimes you want to talk about something current. Maybe Christmas is coming and you have a special deal on some of your courses, or maybe you want to do a Black Friday sale. Maybe you want to go do something for Valentine's Day, and you can go in and send a live email. So yes, it's not automated. You're typing it live and you send it as a campaign. And again, you can send it to everybody, or you can send it to certain segments of your lists. Remember, you've got them all divided by different tags, different lists. So that's what a campaign is. Now, the campaign can go on for more than one day. You can make a sequence campaign. I have seen people that might launch a new course, and I have somebody that just sent it to me recently, and she did a webinar. It was really nice, and instantly I didn't buy the course, and the very next day it says, hey, were you interested? I noticed that you didn't buy it. And I think there was like 6 in a row, and each one was very kind. She pointed out different parts of her webinar, different parts of her course, but it was a current campaign. It wasn't part of the sequence, the automation, even though the campaign, you might have 5 or 6 emails in there. So when else would you use it? You might give everybody in your list a 10% coupon, and then you can follow up with, that coupon in that deal. It really does trigger sales, especially if you have a course. You can go in and tweak it, make it, freshen it up, and then talk about that. These are some things that we added. Those of you that already have the course, make sure you go back in and look at these things that we added. So that's a campaign is more like a live email going out, and it's current. Automation we did talk about, and that's when everything is automated. You have your welcome, you have your, you warm people up, and then you start dividing them. You might, we brought that up a little bit earlier. I'm going to bring that up again. The picture of the automated sequence. Over here, if a person opens the email, they might go over here to the next email. If the person does not open it, it might go over here. You may even have it triggered for a purchase. If they do purchase, it goes over here. And if they don't purchase, it goes over here. So you can do whatever you want. You can set up that automation in any way you want. And that's what's really cool about ActiveCampaign. It's very visual. You can actually see what's happening. So if you're a visual person and you'd like to see, what's going on, then this is really the best autoresponder for you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, the last vocabulary word, is deliverability. This is how well we manage to get our email into the inbox and read. Your first goal is to get that email in the inbox, and the second goal is to get people to read it. And the way this is measured with is a percent. So if only 9% of your 10,000 people, your 10,000 contacts are opening it, your goal is what can I do to get that percent to be higher? And it is measured in ActiveCampaign. And you may start out low, and that's okay. You're new, but that's something that helps you to measure. Now you might say, well, when I send an email, doesn't it automatically go into somebody's inbox? It does not. Think of Gmail, for example. You have your inbox, you have your social area, you have your promotion area, and you have junk. You have emails going into all those areas, and Gmail has a filter and they decide where they go. Now, I did notice when I use Gmail, I did notice when I sign up for a new email list, 9 times out of 10, it comes directly into my inbox. But I did notice if I stop opening them from people, maybe I read a couple and I'm not interested anymore and didn't unsubscribe, all of a sudden it goes into my promotion box and it stops showing up in my inbox. So Gmail has the power to filter that. So you're going to learn different things that you can do with your emails to get them into that inbox. That's your goal, and to get them read. All right, so that's all we have today. We're going to measure and get that percent higher. And now we're going to talk on our next email video, and then we'll talk about how to set up your email address, because you don't want to use Gmail or Yahoo or any of those. You have to have a quote business email address before you can use an autoresponder. And we'll go over that in the next video. Okay, we've talked about why you need email marketing, what it can do for you, and we've talked about the terms of the vocabulary that's used within email marketing. Even though this is titled How to Set Up Your Email Address, I do want to go over 2 things that you really need, information you need before you set up the email address. If you already know what email marketing is, this will be a boring review. I'm sorry, but I have to assume some people are looking at this training and they don't even know what email marketing is. And I just want to give you an idea. You've seen it in action, but probably didn't know what it was. So I'm going to get my pointer over here. Basically, I'm going to use this example as you're searching for something on the internet, and let's say you saw an ad on Instagram, or you're either searching for something or you see an ad. Either way, it happens the same way. So you're looking for that magic pill that's going to help you lose weight. Everybody's always looking for that magic bullet. Let's put it that way. And all of a sudden an ad pops up on Instagram and says, you can lose 30 pounds in 10 days. I'm exaggerating. 30 pounds in 10 days if you take this pill or drink this concoction, okay? And you're on Instagram, so this is you coming in, okay? They have the same ads running maybe on Facebook. They might have a YouTube video made. They might be on LinkedIn, but you saw it on Instagram, and you click that button. You're like, I want this. I need to lose 30 pounds and I want to lose it in 10 days. So you end up on this landing page. And guess what they're asking you for? What do they always ask you for? Give me your email address, usually your name, sometimes your phone number, and then we'll email it to you. And you want it so bad, you're like, yes, I'll give you my email address. Or you're like, no, I don't need any more email, so forget it, I don't want it. That's what happens. So this is the person, the business person, collecting the email addresses. Now, why would they want to do that? Because now you go to your email, you get that email with the link to this magic formula or magic concoction or magic bullet, and they might take you someplace where you need to buy it, but they also have your email address, and all of a sudden tomorrow you realize you have another email from this person, and maybe they're introducing themselves. 2 days later you might have another email. You're on their email list. And did you notice the more most people with a good strategy in their email list, their sequence, their emails will get to know you at first, and then they might give you lots of valuable content, and here and there they will offer you other products. They should not be bombarding you, and they should not be spamming you, because if they do, then you're most likely going to unsubscribe. But if they're consistently giving you good value, then you're going to stay on that list. And that's what an email marketing list is in a nutshell. So I just wanted to make sure you knew what an email marketing list is. Now, you need to have an autoresponder, which we'll talk about in the very next video about what it does and everything. But this is where the autoresponder comes in, because I don't want to repeat all this. They are the ones that will push out your emails for you. So I always like to say they're like the mailman. Okay, I put my emails in the box and they send them out for me. So you cannot do that through Gmail with a personal email account, or Yahoo or Hotmail, or one of those free email addresses. And that's what we're going to talk about today. If you went to your Gmail account, your personal account, or your Yahoo account, your personal account, they will shut you down if you're trying to send out 5,000 emails or 500. They consider that spam. Let's go to Bluehost. And you're saying, why am I going to Bluehost? Before you can have a email address, you need to have a domain, and you'll have your very own domain. A lot of people will start out with a domain using their own name. How do you do that? I have a link below. Bluehost, it's very cheap to get a domain, and they also have free email addresses to go with it. You can go to GoDaddy, but GoDaddy charges like $62 a year, so roughly $6 or $7 a month for you to have an email address to go with your domain. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But this one, if you go here where it says Get Started, Bluehost wants you to buy a domain. And typically, you should pay less than $20 for one. It really depends. But let's go in and look for a domain. Okay, what I typed in was www.bluehost.com/domains, and I can search for a domain. So I'm just going to put I did an example. Hop into Learning. I just made it up. Maybe I'm doing some kind of an educational site. It's for teachers, and Hop into Learning. So let's see if that domain is taken. So it would be hopintolearning.com, and I do a search, and then it will let you it'll tell you, somebody else has that one, but here's other variations that you can use. And this one is taken because I've already checked it. I was trying to find one that wasn't taken, but it says .com is taken. But if you go below, now this is up to you. You can do .org, .website, .online, .site, .store, .space. It's up to you. But most people right now, most people are looking at .com. That's our culture. So it's up to you. If you want to go out of the box and do something different, that's fine. But let's look for something else. Typically, and I did this when I started because I really didn't understand the domains. I was really raw, but didn't know any of this stuff. So I just put my name in. So my domain is in my name. And since then I've gotten other ones since I've gotten a business name. But I really wasn't sure how they worked and why we needed them. So let's try Jessica Blue. Let's say that's her name. We'll see if there's one. So jessicablue.com, and it's unavailable. All right, let's do Jessica Reynolds. Interesting. Some people will then, it's unavailable. So Jessica, let's put Z in there. That's her middle name. Jessica Z Reynolds. I didn't have any trouble getting mine, Vanessa DeBurlay, but it is available. So you will see some people will put their middle initial in the domain so that they can get their name. And there you go. And how much is that? Now this particular one is $11.88, or here, $8.99 right there. Sometimes they will give you a special and say, hey, if you buy this domain, you do have to pay for it yearly. If you buy it now and pay for 3 years, they might give you a good discount. So if you're serious about your business and it's in your name, I would suggest buying as many years as you can because you get a good discount. So the domain is what you need to set up your email address. So now we're going to talk about email addresses. Bluehost gives you a free email address. So your domain now would be jessicazreynolds.com. Your email address would be support@jessicaz, jessicareynolds.com, or ask me questions, Jessica at jessicareynolds.com. Does that make sense? So mine is Vanessa DeBurle, and it would be support at vanessadeburle.com. I also have V DeBurle. I have both. That is your domain, and you're creating a business address. Now you're ready to go buy or to go get an autoresponder so that you can deliver mail. And that's in the next video. So below there is a link for Bluehost. I would recommend Bluehost. Now, I have heard people say when they get larger that Bluehost is starts getting a little glitchy when you start getting a huge list. If you're brand new, this is a great way to start. What you can do if it starts getting glitchy, let's say you start getting up to 10, 15, 20,000 contacts and it's not working as well, then you can use that domain name and get G Suite. And G Suite is just like Gmail, but it's a business account. And you can go in, I think it's $5 a month, and then you can start expanding. I'm going to give you a tip. As your business gets bigger, your expenses get bigger. I was just talking to a friend the other day. We've kind of grown together. We've built our business together. We met online. But I said, remember when we first started and we're like, I'm not paying that $5 a month. I'm not paying that $20 a month. Now we're like, oh, we wish it was that cheap. So in the beginning, you're out there looking at videos that are telling you, oh, you can do this for free. There is no free lunch in anything in life. So get that out of your head right now. Can you do it at a lower cost? Absolutely. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to get started, but you do have to have the proper software in place. You do have to have an email account. You have to show the world that you're serious and you have a business email address. Now, it may sit there for the first few months and nobody will ever email you. That's just part of the business. But eventually, as you get that email out there, it's on your website, you put it on the support part of your funnels and put it on your YouTube videos at the bottom. Say, hey, if you need to get a hold of me, here's my email address, and people will, I promise you, start contacting you. So now, how do you set up email on ActiveCampaign? Because remember, we're building ActiveCampaign together today. Let's go to ActiveCampaign now. I'm back in my ActiveCampaign account, and over here to the left it says address, and you need to add an address because ActiveCampaign is the autoresponder and they are sending your mail for you, and they're using your business address that you just set up, and you're going to enter it here. You're going to select what country you're from, your company name, and if you don't have a company name, just put your name for now. Oops, sorry about that. And then you're going to put your address. They want a physical address. They want to make sure you are a person. And you just put your home address. Some people, as they get their businesses get bigger, they don't want their home address on there. They might get a suite someplace or use a PO box number. That's up to you. I think they need to get a suite though, instead of the PO box. PO box doesn't look as professional, and it can be, anybody can do that. I just use my personal address. I actually just don't put the number, but I put the street address and go from there. So add your address in here. Make sure you have it. And then as you fill everything in, your profile, any information, you're going to use your business address as well. Okay. All right. So get all that set up. If you don't have your domain, you don't have your business address set up, make sure you do that. And then you can come over here into ActiveCampaign and set some of this stuff up. And next video, we're going to talk about autoresponders. And again, you don't have to have ActiveCampaign. I'm going to talk about some of the different ones in the next video. So if you haven't chosen one yet, most likely if you did, you're in a trial period. Don't ever sign up for software and not use the trial period, because I really advise you to look at other ones and check them out and compare them. It's not going to hurt your business to take the time to do that. It's not like you got money pouring in, in 24 hours. It takes time. But we're going to go over some autoresponders tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but in your next video, so you can make a choice of which one you want to use. All right. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, you have your domain, you have your email address, you're ready to set up your autoresponder. In the last video, I talked about what an autoresponder does, and I gave you a little visual. If you're not sure, go back to the video before this. And What it does is basically your autoresponder is delivering your mail. You cannot do it from a private account. It will not work. You'll be shut down for spamming. And you want to be careful anyway when you send emails. You don't want to be spammy. You might say, well, what does that mean being spammy? Well, you see yourself that when you're looking at, let's say you're searching for something on YouTube and you're looking to start an online business. You're sincerely looking. There are hundreds of different ways. And there are some really good videos out there that talk about different ways to make money online. Well, some of them will say, make $1,000 a week, or you can become a millionaire. And sure, anybody can make $1,000 a week or become a millionaire if they put the work in it and they have the skills. But that's kind of spammy. That's like telling someone you can lose 20 pounds in 5 days. And you're kind of playing with people's hopes. And that's what I think of as spammy. Even though something's possible, you don't want to put it out there to the masses that it's easy. And you're implying with those kind of headlines that it's easy to do and anybody can do it. And it's not easy. It does take work. And really not just anybody can do it if they don't have the right skills. So that's being spammy. And you'll get shut down right away for saying things like that. And there are certain spam words that email providers look for, or autoresponders. I actually have a playlist about email marketing where I've made videos about that, and I will actually put the link below if that's something that you want to dig into. That's not in this course per se, but there are some other videos that I've made, and I'll put that link below. So I'm always building on that, and you can see what some of those spammy words are. Now, I'm going to show you two different autoresponders because they are very, very similar in how they operate, but they're different in how careful you have to be with spam. This one is called SendLane, and basically what I like about both of these autoresponders is they're very visual. You can look and see, this is the email that I'm going to trigger. Remember, we talked about those words. This email gets triggered when somebody hits a link that I have to ask for my free PDF, and then it triggers them into my list, and then it triggers this first email. And then I'll say, okay, I want to put a tag on it. This one says send email. Okay, maybe 2 days later, I want to send an email to them after they've gotten the list, or maybe I want to send it immediately. And that's what I tell it to do. And then I'm going to say, oh, if they open it, tag them with this. If they don't open it, tag them with this. I mean, you can do anything you want, but everything is visual, and you can actually watch the sequence of what can happen. So this one is SendLane, and visually, this one here is what Active Campaign looks like. You get more of a visual of the different directions you can go. Both of them work very similarly. What is different is Active Campaign is a little touchier. They have more integrity, I'm going to say, when it comes to spamming. They are promoting their autoresponder to all businesses, not just affiliate marketing, where if you go to SendLane, they're more into affiliate marketing and having people, you can get away with a little bit more spammy stuff because people are promoting products and things like that. So it really depends. If you're using networks, sites like ClickBank and different sites that promote products for affiliate marketers, you might want to go to SendLane. That's just my advice. But if you're genuinely trying to send value and getting people to maybe sign up for different software tools that you use or different products that you use, and you're not being a spammy, I would go to Active Campaign. Now, there's another difference that you want to look at is price. This one is SendLane. Just to get started, most of them start you out for free, okay? But once you start paying, you can see free trial up there. Once you start paying, you want to look at what is it going to cost me? And you want to compare apples to apples. SendLane, to have 500 contacts, will cost you $25 a month. As you increase your contacts, if you slide up, you can use this little scale. So let's go to 10,000. Let's say I've been with them a while and now I'm up to 10,000. How much will that cost me monthly? Oh, it should be more than that. Most of them are more than that. There you go. If you go annually, they'll pay annually. They will give you a discount. Okay, they just go up to 35. That's not too bad. Okay. The higher you go, though, the more it will cost. So let's look at Active Campaign. For 500, you pay $9, and then as you go up, You can just bring that scale up and see at 5,000 they're a little bit higher. So what I would recommend doing, you have to look at one of two things. Am I going to be spammy? I might want to go to SendLane. Later, when I have more contacts, it looked like SendLane might be a little cheaper. However, I'm just starting out. How long will it take me to get to 5,000? It might take me 6 months. Maybe I should start out with the lower price. You have to compare. Now, MailChimp is free for the first so many contacts, but MailChimp's prices go up really fast. So here where you're paying maybe for 5,000, you're paying 69, MailChimp would be higher. So free now, but not free later. So look at the averages. What are the things that they offer? You need to look at everything below here and compare apples to apples, okay? And see which one is the best one for you. All right, so get an autoresponder. For the sake of this training, I recommend, I'm going to be building ActiveCampaign. Go in there and just get the free trial. Again, the links are below. And follow me and build with me. And then before the 30 days is up, in that meantime, you want to be researching other things and comparing. You might say, you know what, this is something I like about ActiveCampaign. These are some features. Let me go compare somebody else and see what their features are. People make videos all the time about comparing different autoresponders. So go into YouTube and do a search. You'll find tons of information. People are doing overviews, tutorials, and comparisons all the time. So find the one that's right for you, that's going to help you. This is what I recommend. Spend the time now getting the one that you think that you'll like, because if you have to move your 10,000 contacts to another autoresponder, it's a lot of work. You have to move your sequence emails, you have to move your contacts. It's a lot of work, and you don't want to have to do that. I am on ActiveCampaign, and it is my third autoresponder. I did start out with Aweber. Aweber's fine, but I like ActiveCampaign because of how I can send it off in different directions and I can see it. I'm very global, very visual, and I like that feature, and that's what's bringing me over here. And the open rates, from some research that I've done, ActiveCampaign has very, very high open rates in comparison to some of the others. They still have control. When I send an email out, they still have control over where it's going to go, what box it's going to drop in, and things like that. And ActiveCampaign seems to be pretty good about putting them in the right place. So just from my research, okay? All right, I'll see you on the next video, and get that set up before you move on. All right, in this video, we're going to talk about capturing emails. You can't send emails unless you're capturing the email address. So there has to be a way to do that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I want you to start thinking about lead magnets, and or clickbait. What is it that makes people click a link and give away their email address? You know you've done it yourself. Think about, before you even go any further in this video, I want you to pause it and think about what have been the offers that people have given to you that make you give them your email address. And even as you're doing it, you're like, oh, I know you're going to just fill my inbox up and I really don't want to give it away, but I want what you have. And that's the key. So they're giving you something to coerce you into giving your email address. Now, basically what they're doing is getting you to sign up for their newsletter. And it's called a newsletter, but it's an email sequence. And they're going to keep it coming back at you and trying to get you to buy more from them. That's the entire purpose of getting your email. And if they just came to you and said, would you like to sign up for our newsletter? You're going to go, heck no, I don't need any more emails in my inbox. Or if they came and said, join our community where we will share recipes or whatever, most people will not click it. I know I won't, because I have so many emails in my inbox, and I get caught up in it though. What causes you to click it? There's three typical ways. One is you might be offered a coupon or a discount, and you're like, oh, okay, for that 20% discount, I definitely will give you my email address. I'm going to give you an example. I just Googled it to find out. Here's one here. Target is, as of today, I Googled it, they will give you a $15 gift card because they value your opinion and they want to know how are they doing on their site. So they're going to probably send you some type of a survey. You get $15, but they're going to collect an email address from you. And even if they collect your street address mail, then they're going to mail information to you, or they're going to send it to your mobile device. They don't care which way you want it, but they're going to get your address and send you more emails or more newsletters to try to get you to buy more. And most people, I don't even shop at Target, and I probably would click this just to get the free 15 bucks. Give it away as a gift to one of my kids. A second way that people will clickbait, lead magnet, is if they get a free training. This right here is a free training. I told you about Active Campaign. I know that you're here wanting to learn about email marketing, and this training is free. Throughout the training, however, or when you came to get the training, however, you gave me your email address so I could send you the link. So that's the way I like to do it, because I love getting free training, and really that's the reason I chose this avenue. I started out doing PDFs and checklists and things like that, but I didn't feel like they really had a lot of value. And for me, when I started thinking about what makes me click, it's a free training. There's so much training out there, and so much of it is expensive. And you're when it's free, you're not, it's not so risky to give away your email address in exchange. It's better than giving away money. All right, and the third way is free products. There are a lot of people out there that love to get free stuff. So they will. I know them. They're like, oh my gosh, I got this free in the mail, and I'm like, okay, but it's just more junk, right? But there are people that love to get free samples and mail and packages, and they will sign up. So what is it that gets you excited? Honestly, do that, because that's the kind of person you want to attract, somebody that's kind of like you, in my opinion. I have a couple other links. Like here's one. I looked up free courses, and this company they have over 45,000 different free courses. But look, you're not going to get any of those free courses unless you give your name and your email address. I did not go in, I didn't give my information, but 45,000 free courses. So if you're looking for free courses, that's one way you can get it. Here's a landing page that I made. I do a free 5-day affiliate marketing launch challenge. And before you can start, you have to sign up your name and your email address, because honestly, I have to be able to deliver it. And I also, when you get in there, you give your Facebook message, permission for me to send it to you through Facebook Messenger. So I deliver it through email and through Facebook Messenger. Most people, when it pops up in front of their face every day, they're more apt to watch it. And I really want them to watch it. It's only 5 days of training. Now, you're probably sitting here going, okay, this sounds great, but I don't want to make videos. I don't have any little products to give away, and I don't know how to make an ebook or a PDF or something to give away for free, or a checklist. I have ideas, but I'm not creative. I don't want to do any of that. Well, I have the answer for you. You go to a program called Fiverr.com, okay? And Fiverr has people that put themselves up for hire that will help make those things for you. So I just typed in lead magnet, and I already have it on the next page, but I typed in lead magnet to give you an example, and this is right today. Here are different people that will do things for you. Now, look over here. This person will design an ebook or lead magnet right here for $25. The one next to it says, we will design an eye-catching ebook for $260. It's up to you how much money you want to spend. Spending more may not always mean it's a better product. It's just like when you go shopping, you know that there's that fine line for quality. I always like to go high middle, but look at their credentials. If you open up the person's name in here, you'll find all kinds of information about them. There's been some reviews. They'll let you know how many hours of work that they've put in. And believe me, they will not stay on Fiverr.com if they're not doing a good job, because you as a customer can give them a good review or a bad review. And if somebody keeps getting bad reviews, they won't be on the platform. So again, $40, $175. If you're looking for somebody to make videos for you, a training course, then you would look under video creation or something like that, or course creation. But there's people that will make it for you. And put the money out. Get a good quality product. If you don't have the time, put the money out, and it's something that you give away over and over and over. It's digital. You don't have to keep going out and paying for it. You pay for it once, you get the product you want, and you keep on using it as a lead magnet to collect those emails. So you want lots and lots of emails. So what is it that you're going to give away for free that's going to entice people to give you their email address? And that's what it's all about. So next video, we're going to start talking about the next steps. But before you move on, I highly recommend that you get some kind of an idea of what lead magnet that you want to offer. And you might say, well, what about a digital course? You can do something like recipes, some of my best favorite recipes for losing weight. You can make a cookbook, and we're going to build a list. Let me review with you where you integrate when you go into your funnel or your web page. Okay, here's a funnel that I have that I built on ClickFunnels. Okay, and after somebody comes to get this free download, they get a free YouTube channel launch checklist. Then as soon as they trigger, they put in their email and their name. Check this down here. It will trigger their name to go to a certain list, and it's the list that I build in ActiveCampaign. But let me show you how I integrate it. I'm going to go over here to the top under settings, and it says integrations, and over here autoresponder integration. I'm going to open it up, and I want it to go to ActiveCampaign down here. And what action I want it to be I want this person's name to be added to a list when they hit that trigger. And then it's going to say which list. Well, I have one list built for your sake here, and I want it to be connected to the newsletter. Where is that newsletter? If I go back to my ActiveCampaign, it's here. This is the list. So right now, what we're going to do today is create a list. Now, obviously, we have to put some emails in there, and we'll do that before this course is over. But first, you have to decide, what kind of list am I going to make? I always have a newsletter, and this is where everybody will eventually be integrated to. They might start out with a specialized list that I have, but everybody will eventually be on the newsletter list. And this is the one that I'm going to build out, probably for 6 months to a year, so that it's automated. I can always send out a current email, if that makes sense. They could be called campaigns. Every different autoresponder calls them something different, but it's something, it could be an email blast. It's a current email. Your sequence that's in your newsletter will typically be a sequence where when people come in, they start at the beginning and then they go through it. And you might have one 3 or 4 a week at the beginning, and then maybe fizzle out till 2 or 3, and then maybe eventually 1 a week. And while person A might be in the 4th month and still getting your emails, person B comes in later and will be at the beginning of the sequence, but they're getting the same emails, but they come in when they trigger it by coming in from one of your free offers. Let's go ahead and build a list. Okay, we're gonna select here, add list, and this next list I'm gonna call it low Q. And you always have to put a URL, your website, and then a description. It is viewable on email sent to your people that are on the list. You are receiving okay, and then I add it, and it creates the list. Now, why did I call it low Q? I have one called low Q and another called high Q. In those lists, you're going to have people that once they purchase something, you might put them in the high Q, because that's somebody who's more apt to keep buying from you over and over. If they've never purchased from you, you might put them in the low Q, or maybe you run a certain campaign or something like that. You might just have them there, or you could also tag them. When you notice that when I was in the integration, there's also a way that you can tag people, and it sticks to their name. So when you have a contact, they'll have a little tag on them, and you can put as many tags as you want on people. The thing I recommend that you do is keep a list of your tags. So let's say, back on that first example, when I told them what action did I want, I could also say I want them to be tagged. And actually, I'm going to go back there, and I'll show you where you go on this one. All right, I'm going to go back out right before I edited this, and I'm going to go under automation. And here I can add a new action. So in this action, it says here what to do. I can also add a tag right here. So on the other integration, I said put them on my list under newsletter, under active campaign, and here I can say add a tag. And this tag might be they came from the YouTube checklist. I could put the source, or I could even just say source dash YouTube list. And then that way, anybody that comes through will get that tag, and I know where they came in, and it will be there. The name is, the new action funnel would be, I'll just put YouTube list. The condition would be everybody. Everybody that clicks that will have that added. And there's how you add a tag. Now, when you go into your website, or if you're using a different company for your funnel, you're going to have to find out how to add those tags. But you add them from the funnel going over into your list, okay? So what are some lists that I have, or tags? These, I have made a list. These are some of my lists, would be newsletter, high Q, low Q, YouTube course. I might want people to come in and give them a special sequence of emails if they bought a course, because maybe I want to give them some more tips about how to use it. And then I have post YouTube. Maybe once that's over, I could put them into the newsletter, and then maybe put them onto the post YouTube list as well, and maybe offer them some other products because they like the YouTube course so well. So just kind of think about what you want to tell your prospects and where you want to lead them, and you'll be able to do that with Active Campaign. Now, one of the things I recommend as you add tags, these are just some ideas, but as you add tags, make a list of them so you know what tags you have. Because let's say I made a tag that said purchased YouTube course. So these are all the people that purchased the course. Well, maybe I have another course, purchased Facebook ads course or something like that. I might have something I want to say to just those people, so I could pull them by their tag and then send an email blast just to them and not to everybody else. So you start to send emails that actually have to do with people's purchases. You can go by their interest. That one list I pulled in, the YouTube checklist, they didn't really buy anything, but maybe they're interested in YouTube. So I could put interest YouTube as one of my tags, and then I would know, okay, anytime I have something special to share about YouTube, I could share it with them. And there would be things, affiliate products like vidIQ, TubeBuddy, different products that I can promote. Or maybe I found a cool camera or a tripod or something like that, and I could tell them about it, and those would be the people that I would show. If you show it to everybody, not everybody is on YouTube, so you're kind of giving too much information, or information to some people that don't really want it. And then they might unsubscribe because they're like, well, I'm not really interested in all this YouTube stuff. So it just helps you to be more direct with your target. Some people like to tag their sources. You might say, these people came from Instagram, this group came from YouTube or from Pinterest or whatever. So think about the tags before you put them, and make sure you keep a list. And then that way, as you're building and as you're starting to target, you can go back and target those people. So that's how simple a list is to make. Now, if you're coming to Active Campaign from a different autoresponder, you can import your names. And the nice thing is, up here, it says import contacts. So let's say on my newsletter, I want to import all my contacts from a different list. This is really cool. Just hit the button over here on the right. If your X autoresponder is down here, you can just click it and it will import them for you. Isn't that amazing? And look how many there are. There are a ton of them. If yours is not listed here, then you're going to have to export them from your other list, put that Excel sheet on your desktop, and then import them from here. It's just as easy, but just saves you a couple steps if you do it this way. Okay. All right. That's all I have on lists for today, and I will see you on the next video. All right, today we're going to learn about automation. And if you remember in one of the first videos, we talked about the definition of automation. Automation is when you collect somebody's email address and then you send them email sequences automatically. You do not have to keep going in and doing it over and over. So basically with marketing online, in the beginning, you're doing a lot of the building work and getting the foundational stuff built. But after you have systems in place, that's when things start to become automated and passive. So you're going to do a lot of work here in the beginning, but eventually just know that it does get easier and you do less. All right, so we talked about lists yesterday and we built some lists. Okay, now what we're going to do is build the automated list of sequenced emails. Okay, and what you're going to do is go over here on the left, and right here this is lists, and just kind of go up, look for automations, and there it is. I'm going to show you today one that I put together very quickly to kind of show you what it is, and then in the next video I'll go in step by step and show you exactly how to build it, because I really want to make sure you understand what it is first. So here it's just kind of like an overview, if that makes sense, and then tomorrow we will close that out. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, but the next video, we'll go in and physically build a list. Okay. One of the things when you start your list, it gets triggered. Remember, in the last video, I showed you that on my landing page, I told the system that when people click this button and they ask for this free PDF, it will automatically send a trigger to my active campaign, to my newsletter list, and those people will automatically be put in there, and it triggers the first email. Okay, and then I tell it exactly what happens after that. So here's an automation list that, like I said, I just threw it together to show you what it is. Now up here in the beginning it says contact subscribers to list newsletter. So basically I told that funnel to put them in the newsletter list, and that's what this is. Now what'll happen, I then said wait 1 day before you send the next email. So they got their PDF. I sent an automatic thank you through my funnel. There was a place to do that, and it said thank you, here's your PDF, and welcome, blah blah blah. Well, a day later they're going to get my soap opera sequence. Now I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, but a soap opera sequence, if you've read Russell Brunson's .com Secrets book, he talks a lot about having a soap opera sequence, which is usually 3 to 5 emails. And in those emails, you're kind of introducing yourself to somebody. I do have a video where I explain exactly what goes in each of those emails, but that's in a nutshell what a soap opera sequence is. You're introducing yourself, you're kind of warming your prospects up to you so they can get to know you. People want to know, like, and trust you before they're going to buy from you. So you're not going to just, that's why you can't just spam and throw things on Facebook or on Instagram and say, here, buy my stuff, because people don't even know you. But if they get into your email sequence and that you have those first 3 to 5 emails that you tell your story about where you've been and how you've got to where you're at now, they'll say, wow, I can relate to that person. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll say, gosh, I'm getting out of here, I'm going to unsubscribe. Both can happen. But anyway, you go in, and I always like to tell it to wait 1 day, okay? And then after that, it says wait until it's a weekday. Most people do not open emails on the weekends. Usually, if you think about it, most people are sitting at work, and it's usually the end of the day when they're wrapping things up that they might go in and start checking their email. It's just a proven fact. So you want your emails to be delivered from Monday through Friday. I think there's even more data that has certain days that people open it up more than others. You can really get into the analytics if you want to, but in general, Monday through Friday around 3 o'clock in the afternoon is a pretty good time to send your email. Well, you can tell Active Campaign in your automation how to do that. For instance, I'm going to open this up and edit it. It says, let's go right here. The first thing I said was wait a day. And let me just click it as if that we're doing it again. I click the plus and it says, what do I want to do? I want to send an email. Okay, what kind of email? And here I just happen to have that email. We're not going to use that one, but we're just going to select that one. Okay, and it says wait a day, and then it's going to select it. Now after that, I also want it to only send it at a certain time. So I am going to hit the plus sign again. And I'm going to say I need a condition. I'm going to put a condition in. We're going to go into more detail, but I just want to kind of give you an idea, a flavor of what I'm doing. I want my condition to be wait. What are you waiting for? We're waiting for a specified period of time. You can also wait for a certain condition to be met, and I'll show you that in a moment. But I'm going to wait because I want to make sure they go out during the week. So I'm going to say wait for how many days? I can say I want to wait 2 days. Actually, I needed to hit condition. Let's hit that. Let's just hit wait 2 days. We're going to delete that. I want to do a condition. I apologize for that. Conditions and workflow. It's right here, the second one. Okay, we're waiting for a condition. So we're going to go wait 1 day and then click it again. And we're going to click over here to the left, a condition in our workflow. What is the condition? We're waiting again, but this, we're going to hit wait until specific conditions are met. I apologize. The first one just gives you how many days. So we're waiting for what is the condition. My condition is a certain date and time. Okay. And I'm also going to say a certain day of the week. Okay. If it is not a weekend, that's when I want to send it. Now I also said I wanted to send it at 3 o'clock, so you would add another condition. Select the condition, its date and time again, and I'm going to say a certain time. So current time in their time zone is, and then I'm going to go in and say 3 o'clock. But see how you can just tell it exactly what you want to do. Now you may find once you start sending emails that your analytics are showing that more people open your emails on Tuesday at 5, then you can go in and change all these times. You can go in and edit all of this as you watch your analytics. And that's what's really cool about this. You can keep on revising it and making it better. The time limit is basically, you might say, give it 3 days. You might say, give it a time limit of 3 days. Make sure that it is delivered within those 3 days. All right. So basically that's a condition. Now let's go down here to the bottom, and now you can split. This is when it gets really cool. And let's say everybody went through, maybe this is the beginning of my sequence. And I might say, I want to make sure everybody's in my Facebook group before I put them into the sequence. So the condition could be, does it have a tag that says Facebook? Yes, they do. Well, then this group over here will go directly into my soap opera sequence. They'll jump right in. They're already in my Facebook. If they don't have that tag, I might send a special, like a email, just one email saying, hey, join the Facebook group. You'll get a lot of value out of this and you can ask questions, blah, blah, blah. Once you send that, then you can say, okay, after that, I'm going to bring them back over here and put them back in. So you can kind of bring them out and bring them back in. It's really cool. So those are called conditions, okay, in workflow. And then from here, I can continue to do my soap opera. Now, again, we're going to actually go in and start from scratch on the next video, but I wanted you to have an idea of what it can do. So start thinking. Now, one of the things, if you want to jump, I didn't know which video to make next. So whichever one makes more sense to you. If you want to come in here and build a mock sequence or automation without your emails, then go ahead and go to the next video. If you want to create your soap opera emails first, then skip it and go to that one. To me, it almost makes more sense to do that. What I did when I wrote my soap opera sequence, I actually wrote them out on a Word document. And then I copied and pasted and put them in. And then that way I had it. And if I ever wanted to revise it, I had it right there in a folder. So that's up to you. If it makes more sense to type it right into the automation, you can do that, or you can write them up in a Word document. There's just all different pieces, and it just depends on what makes more sense to you. So basically, that is what automation is. You can build these to go on and on and on for a year if you want. You can build them to maybe go 6 months, and then you can start cleaning out your list. What happens is anytime you have a autoresponder, the prices are pretty low in the beginning because they like to help the beginner. So when you're under 500 contacts, the prices aren't real high, but you start getting up to 5,000, 10,000, 15, 20,000, you're going to be paying for the number of contacts. So in your sequence, at the end of the soap opera, maybe you can say, if they opened it, move them over to my newsletter. If they did not, kick them out and delete them. Now, I have seen mixed reviews on that. Some people say they like to keep them, move them to maybe a dead list, and some people say they like to just get them out. You could even export them if you want, and then maybe every once in a while send like a email blast to them and test it. But that's up to you. You have to decide how you want to do it. There's really no right way written in stone. It's more on what you want to do to create your automation and where you want everyone to go. All right, so that's it for this video. And like I said, on the next one, we're going to take it from scratch and just build the first few steps together. And then on the next one, I'll go over the soap opera. All right, see you on the next video. All right, what we're going to do here is build a brand new live automation from scratch. All right, so in the video before this, if you're not sure what an automation looks like, what it does, you might want to watch the previous video. If you're pretty sure what it is and you want to build one, here we go. Look over to your left. These are all your tabs, and it says automation, and that's where I'm at now. Yesterday, I showed you this one. Now we're going to build one from scratch. So you're going to go up here to the right and select Build Automation. I like to build them from scratch, so I'm just going to click this one. You put a little heart over here, and then continue. There's all kinds of samples and templates in there, but I'm going to show you how to build this one from scratch. So the first thing is, remember, we talked about the trigger. I had a PDF that I was offering a checklist for a YouTube launch, and I triggered it. And basically what's going to create that trigger is they're going to subscribe to the list, because in that funnel, I said, when they click this, they're subscribing to my newsletter list. Okay. So I'm going to click from there. Now, if you notice in here, nope, I hope I didn't click yet. You can create or trigger it by anything. You can, if they unsubscribe from a list, you might have them trigger, you might trigger a sequence of emails saying, hey, why are you leaving? Can you maybe fill out this survey for me, or something like that. You could have them submit a form. If they open emails consistently, you might trigger them to a more higher quality list, because at least they're reading it, and maybe you can change your approach. Maybe they're not clicking anything, but they're reading. So maybe you can have a list of 10 emails that you create it for people like that. So this is what really gets neat about ActiveCampaign, is you can pay attention to what your prospects are doing and then come in and retarget them in a way that really meets their needs and their interest and their actions, if that makes sense. If they reply to an email, maybe they visited a web page on your in your website, and then you can give them certain emails. Maybe they went to a recording of one of your events and things like that. So basically what we're going to do is they just subscribe to a list. And I showed that to you from the ClickFunnels, where I integrated it into ActiveCampaign. And when they click that, I want this list, they went right onto my newsletter list, and that's what it says, subscribe. Okay, select any list. Well, I'm going to select the newsletter, okay? And then how many times are you going to run it? Once or multiple times? I'm just going to say once. Let's go newsletter, okay. And then that's it. We're going to start our list. Now, I start my newsletter list with the soap opera. Everybody goes through that at first. So what I showed you yesterday was basically they'll go through that soap opera, and then it will kick them over to the newsletter, if that makes sense. But the first thing we're going to do when they get here is we're going to send an email. And it says here I have to create one because I don't have any in there. I had some in there from yesterday. So we're just going to create one real quick and call it test. I have another video that you go in there in detail on how to create that email, so we're not going to do that today. So we have an email called test. We're just going to keep using that one. And I'm just going to use the templates that's here, and the subject is test. Now remember, you'll go to your soap opera video and create your soap opera emails, and then you'll go to the email video and it'll show you exactly how to put those in there, okay? Okay, so it has my email. Now, do I want them to get it right away or do I want to wait? I think I'm going to go above it and say to wait 1 day. So I'm going to do a condition that says wait, and I'm going to say wait for 1 day. Because when I send a PDF through my funnel, I usually have an automated thank you email that comes directly from the funnel. After that, after they wait 1 day, they'll start getting my sequence. So I select save. Now, I talked on the previous video about sending them out on the weekdays and at 3 o'clock. So now we're going to put a condition in there. So now we go down here and it says wait until conditions are met. What are my conditions? I want to select a certain time of day. So we're going to go date and time, a certain day of the week. And you can say it is a weekday, or you can say it is not a weekend. So we'll go is a weekday. My other condition is the time. So we're going to select date and time again, and we're going to say it is a certain time right there in the contact's time zone. So all of that will be converted for you. You don't have to do the math. Whoops, cancel that. I almost deleted it. And we're going to go down to 3 p.m., which is 1500 hours, and we're done. So that first email will go out after 1 day. And we had said earlier we're going to say wait, give it up to 3 days to go out. Maybe it goes to their spam folder. Maybe there's a reason it didn't go the first time, and the system will try 3 times based on your conditions. All right, so here we go. Wait a day plus these conditions. There's my first email. Now, when I send the sequence, that soap opera sequence, I like to send 1 per day. And one of the things that you do when you're sending your soap opera sequence is each time at the end of the sequence, you kind of leave a hook, and I'll go into that in more details on the next one. But I might tell a story, give some information about myself, and then I'll say, well, this is getting long, I'll finish tomorrow. And that kind of hooks them in where they want to read your next email. So you're kind of, that's why it's called a sequence, because you're kind of hooking them in so they want to keep reading if they open it. If they don't, you have a way of getting them off the list. All right, so now we're going to wait 1 day again. And instead of doing that, we're going to copy it. So you don't have to keep going in and saying wait 1 day, and then put all those conditions. Take the little tab like this and lay it right on top of that plus sign right there. And then it says, do you want to move a single action or do you want to copy it? I'm going to copy it. Now, if you're editing and you already have people in the automation, you might have people at different levels. You want to say any contacts that are in there, keep them right where they're at. Don't move them with the copy. So you want to make sure you do that. And then I click OK. Excuse me. And now I'm going to move my conditions as well and do the exact same thing. I'm going to copy them, just the single action. I'm going to move down a little bit. Oops. There we go. Copy the single action and then stay at their current position. And hit OK, and it just copies it. And then you might say, okay, now I'm going to send another email. Now, most likely you're going to go in and create a new email because this is new, but I'm just going to go in and send a new one. So sending options, send a new email, and I'm just going to say use the one that's there, the test one. But you would go in and select create. So that's how you go through and build your sequence. Now, once you build this up, one of the things you're probably thinking, well, you just said, build this for a year. After I do my soap opera sequence, I start sending them out maybe a couple a week. I don't bombard people with one every day. I've had people do that to me, and even if the person has good content, getting it every single day becomes too much. And I find that then I stop reading it. I had one person doing that. I loved, they kept sending me their YouTube videos and I was watching them, but I didn't have time to do that every single day. So I just kind of stopped opening them, and I noticed they started going to spam. So don't bombard people to the point where they just don't have time to read it, or that you're annoying them. I had somebody else sending me emails once, and I really enjoyed the content, and they had a neat strategy. After about a month, I really enjoyed them. They were coming about 2 a week, perfect timing. I mean, I opened them all, I read them, I was learning a lot, and after about a month they stopped, and I was like, well, where did this person go? And I thought that was interesting, because after maybe about 3 weeks later, I started getting them again, and I was waiting. So use your own strategy, whatever you think will work, but you don't want to bombard people. I know some people believe that's the way to do it, but you don't want to be so scarce that they forget about you either. So you have to really lay it out. I would suggest doing a good 6 months worth in the sequence. And again, you're going to have, if you did 2 a week for 24 weeks, that's only about 48 to 50 emails. It's not that many. And think about it before you make it. Like, what am I leading them towards? If you're in e-commerce and maybe you're talking about teaching them how to do it, then go through the steps of the things that they need to know, or the software that they need as they're learning what you're teaching. I'm in affiliate marketing, so I'm going to do email marketing. I'm going to show them, I use YouTube as my platform, so I'll have videos or emails about YouTube and how they can get started. And my tags might be more specific with those people that showed interest. Then I'm going to dig in even deeper, where my sequence, I might touch on it lightly to see who has an interest, if that makes sense. Now, at the end of your sequence, your soap opera sequence, you might want to delete the people or put them on a different list that are not opening them, because you really then want to start focusing on people who are opening them. And what you're going to do is, in this last email in the sequence, you might put in a condition, and right here it says if and else. If this happens, then what else? So we're going to split the automation. What is the condition? The condition is they have to take a certain action. And what is that action? They have opened any campaign or email. All right. So then I'm going to hit add. And this is at the end of the soap opera sequence. Like I said, you don't have to do this, but it's just to show you an example. So over here on the left, then I might continue them into my automated 50 sequence emails that I've created. And over here on no, I might just stop it. I might say this is the end and take them off the. And if you look right down here, it says end this automation. I can click that, and there it is. They're done. They will not continue through my automation. So I hope this is enough information that you can at least start laying this out on a piece of paper before you dig in. Like, what is it? What are the conditions that I want? Where do I want to feed people? I would definitely keep it simple at first. Some people I know have jumped into their autoresponders and have created like a billion lists. Like, I've heard people, well, Steve Larson was one. He's really big with ClickFunnels, and he said that. He goes, I had so many email lists, I didn't even know what I was doing. And he said, I went down to 2. One, yes, they purchased, and the other one is no, they have not. And that's it. You can come up with your own list however you want to do it. What makes sense to you. In the beginning, I definitely would make sure everybody's on your newsletter list. And maybe as you're creating your newsletter and you're seeing some actions that people are taking, you can go back and say, I noticed a lot of people were buying one of my courses on the 10th email that I put out. So at that point, instead of trying to keep selling things to the people that already bought something, maybe I'll put them what I call that high queue list, where I can start maybe upselling them to other things. They're serious about their business and they're going to want some more sophisticated training. Where the other people, you can start, keep offering some lower cost things just to help them get started, if that makes sense. All right, so that's it for automation. The next video, we're going to talk about the soap opera sequence. I'm not actually going to add them as much as I'm going to talk about what they are. And that's some homework on that one. I want you to sit down and actually write them out before you continue from the next video, okay? All right, what we're going to talk about today is the soap opera sequence. These are going to be your first 3 to 5 emails. I actually have 5 in mind. And there's a certain sequence that you use or certain things you talk about. I do want to recommend right now that you get the book .com Secrets from Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels. He wrote a book and I kept hearing about the soap opera sequence, wasn't always sure, even going through videos everybody else talks about. And I think if you get the book, it's actually free. You just pay shipping. It's well worth it. He has a whole chapter where he explains what it is, why, and how it works. So I'm going to go over it as well here, but if you really want to dig in deeper and do a really good job with it, then I recommend you get the book. And he's got other information in that book as well that's going to help you with your business. So the link is below. Check it out. Now, why do we do a soap opera sequence? It's kind of like that getting to know you period, and you need that in sales just like you need it with everything else. A teacher does that when they go in the classroom. They don't just go in and just jump in and start teaching. They do activities to get to know the students and things like that. Even notice when you get a new job, there's that honeymoon period, okay? And that's kind of what this is in your sales. What does a soap opera sequence do? You're going to build credibility with your prospects. They want to make sure that you're credible. Now, a lot of people will say, yeah, but I'm just new and I don't really have credibility with sales. And if you don't have it, like you're not throwing a bunch of emails out there or a bunch of videos saying, I've made $10,000 in a week. Obviously that is great credibility when you reach that level of success, but I don't want you to sit there and say, I have to wait until I do that before I can start my email list. What you need to do is just be honest about where you're at and who you are and in your emails. And you can always go back. Let's say that day when you make $10,000 in a week, you can go back and edit those to reflect who you are today. And that's the neat thing about the automation. You basically are telling the story in 50 emails, but you can always go back in and upgrade and edit. So the hard work's been done. The second thing is you want to make yourself relatable in those first few emails. People are going to connect with you, and maybe they won't. I mean, the same thing can happen. Maybe you're talking about something that you enjoy doing, maybe your story. And I'm going to go over some details for each email, but you're making yourself relatable. I had met a woman once who was doing healthcare and fitness, and she kept talking about her Jeep. And I have a Jeep, and honestly, there was nothing else that I had in common with this person, but I was drawn to her because she was a grandmother, and she had a Jeep. So I thought that was pretty cool. And she just talked about it all the time, and that was a connection. The other thing is you want to build trust. People are not going to purchase anything from you unless they trust you. And notice when they do trust you, they'll follow you to the moon and back. So to put that in a nutshell, they want to know, like, and trust you before they're going to buy from you. And that's what you're creating really heavily in these first few emails, because if they don't make it past that, they're not going to go any further. And that's why it's recommended sometimes just to delete people off the list if they're not opening it. They didn't even take the time to get to know you. Why bother going forward? All right, so let's go from there. What I suggest when you write out these emails is write them on a Word document, because it's easier just to type and not have to worry about the formatting and all of that when you get into creating the emails here in ActiveCampaign. I actually created mine on a Word document, and then I just copied and pasted it and reformatted it and laid it out to look a certain way. And we'll go over that in a different video. It took me, I'm going to be honest, it took me a very, very long time before I even started my sequence, before I started my soap opera sequence, any of it. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to take the time to do it. And I kept saying, even with blogging, I just didn't want to do it. And I kept putting it off. But then I found when I got that Word document out and just started typing, it just started flowing. And it was very, very easy. And then when I wrote out my plan of what I was going to put in there, it just became really easy. So don't put it off. The most important part of your business is that email list. I don't know if you've heard this before, but I'll say it again here. In your business, if you are, let's say you're with ActiveCampaign and you have this list of prospects, and let's say you're doing multi-level marketing and on the side you have the email list. So let's say you're promoting healthcare and fitness and you have your email list. What if that company that you're working for goes out of business? And everything you created was maybe on a Facebook page or even on YouTube, and you have nothing. Your email list, you still have a list of those customers. Now, I know your next thing you're thinking is, well, what if ActiveCampaign shuts down? That's why every so often you decide when you want to export that list, put it into an Excel document, put it on a Google Drive someplace, and just keep them yourself. Those names will be yours forever. And you can't do that when you're working with a multi-level marketing company within their system. They'll have all of your customers in there, but when they shut down, they take their customers with them. So just remember that as you're building your business, no matter what area it's in. All right, let's talk about the emails. Number one, you want to talk about your low point. I'm in affiliate marketing. We're kind of considered influencers. And one of the things I talked about was, what was it what was my low point that really made me jump into affiliate marketing? I had all my life been looking for another way to make money. I always thought something was wrong with me because I never wanted to, I didn't like it when I had to go to a 9-to-5 job. I even, when I taught in a brick and mortar school, as much as I enjoyed it, I didn't like the fact, I'll never forget, I used to work on the weekends at home, made sure all of my plans were ready. First thing in the morning, kids came in, stuff was on their desk. And when I left at night, everything was ready for the next morning. So I had a really good system. And I'll never forget, after about 6 months, I was a new teacher. The lady that was the president of the union, which I was not in, came to my room and noticed that I was leaving like at 3:15 instead of 3:30. And basically I was ready. I had everything ready for the next morning. All my work was done. I took work home all the time. And, all of a sudden there's a rule. I had to sit there until 3:30. The reason I was able to leave is I didn't have bus duty or any of that stuff at that time of the day. But the point is, I hated that. I hated the fact that I was treated like a child and I had to sit there even though I didn't have anything to do. I had everything done. I was very efficient, but I still had to sit there and put in my time. But then nobody compensated me for my extra time. I still did it, but the point is I never liked somebody else telling me when I had to be there. Yet I'm a hard worker. I'll work 200-300%, but don't lock me in. And so I was always looking for that thing. I finally found affiliate marketing when I started looking at my retirement. I ended up teaching online, which gave me more flexibility, which I love. But I still then noticed that my retirement was locked in. And, I'm telling my husband we're going to have to live on less, which is crazy. But that's what kind of started drawing me online. And, I could go on and on about the story, but that's when I hit the low point, when I realized that, you put in all these years and you're still nowhere, if that makes sense. So that was the story I told. And that was my first email, telling that low point. Now, your second email is, what did you do to overcome it? So I want you to write that down. Email number one. What is your low point? What is that thing that happened that just you had enough? Why are you doing what you're doing? Okay, that pulled you into that. And it doesn't have to be affiliate marketing. It could be, you could be in e-commerce, or maybe you love to shop. Maybe you love health and beauty products and you're just excited about, those kinds of things. So talk about it. Maybe you hated how expensive they were, or hated the fact that you never knew what to do with makeup. So you decided to create your own videos to teach other people. It can be anything. Number two, what is the process that helped you to overcome that low point? got you out of that hole and helped you to overcome it. And what I want you to do at the end of each email is kind of put a hook. I talked about this in the previous video, but put a hook there. So I could talk about, here's the process to help me overcome it. I discovered online marketing, and it helped me learn more. It was challenging because I had to learn more technology skills, something that I always thought I wouldn't do. And wait till you hear what happened. And that could be the end of the email. And the person reading is going to go, oh, what happened? What did she do? How did she overcome that? And then email number 3, you could continue to tell your story if it's a lot, if you have more to tell, or you could just say, I made it. This is what I finally did. I created this business and I made it and it's working, and I was able to quit my job, or I was able to quit my part-time job. In my case, I was able to quit 2 part-time jobs, and I still have my full-time job. I'm just being honest with you, because then you got to look at insurance and what you're going to do there. So you have to make enough money to cover those extra expenses that your company's paying for. So, figure that out. What's it going to take before I can finally quit? But I did quit 2 part-time jobs. And then your last email, talk about your why. Like, what is driving you to do this? Besides the fact that you're crazy. That's what everybody thinks, right? What keeps you pushing and pushing and pushing? And I know for me, a lot of times when I feel like, gosh, when will that day happen that I get to quit? And you hear other people tell those stories. And then what keeps driving me, as well as those specific family goals and things like that, is I always think, what would my life be like if I didn't do it? And then that's what always pushes me. And so that's something I always end up with. But share your why, and share it with passion, because there's something that's driving you. And I'm sure you have a similar story that, you've always found that you never fit into that 9 to 5. You were never that kid that could sit in the classroom and just sit there compliantly, doing something over and over again. So there are certain characteristics that got you to where you're at now. So share that so people can relate to you. And again, maybe they won't relate to you. Maybe they'll say, you know what, I can't relate to this person, but there's somebody else out there that they will relate to. And that's okay. That's why we each want to be who we are authentically. Be yourself on your YouTube videos, on Instagram, whatever platform you are on, and in your emails, and share who you are. And that's all you can do, is just tell the truth, right? And people will get to know you, like you, and trust you. So I want to give you some homework, 3 to 5 emails. Write them out in a Word document before you go on. Just have them ready, so you can feel like, okay, I've done something. And if you want to go back and put them, well, you don't want to put them in yet, because I have another video coming where I'll specifically show you how to copy and paste them and put them in. Okay? All right. You got some homework to do, so get that soap opera series written. Get the book below. It'll help you tremendously. I promise you. It'll make a world of difference in your business. Hello. I hope by now that you've taken time to come up with your 3 to 5 emails for your soap opera sequence. It's really, really important that you take action as you go through this training. I don't know how many trainings that I purchased that I just went through and I said, oh, I'll do it later, and then never got back to it. And it really creates a situation where it takes you longer to build your business. You have to build the business before you're going to make some significant money. Just like building a house, you can't live in it until you have it built. You have to get that foundation in, get all the parts in. Sure, you can live in it when it's not completely done. There comes a point when you can move in, but it's kind of the same thing with your business. You have to put some certain things in place, and the email sequence is the #1 most important part of any business. You have to have somebody to sell to, and this is where they are. They're in your email autoresponder, waiting for you to send them some wonderful emails. So you've already done your soap opera sequence, and you've written them out on a Word document. You still don't know where to put them or how to do it if you're just following along. Otherwise, you can go in and figure it out on your autoresponder. But now I want to talk about what we call the Seinfield sequence. These names came from Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels. He wrote a book called .com Secrets, and he goes over it in immense detail. I'm going to be honest with you, when I kept hearing this, I'm like, what are they talking about? And swipe files and email marketing. I was totally green. I did not know anything. I'm putting it out there. He does have a book that you pay shipping, and it's free, and you pay shipping. It is an affiliate product. Affiliates only make $1 on it, so it's not a big sale, but I want you to have it. I don't even care if I made that $1, to be honest. You need to go get it. I don't care if you go to Amazon to get it. I think you'll end up paying more, but I have a link below, and get that book. If for nothing else, there's a whole 25% of the book is about email marketing and the soap opera sequence and the Seinfield sequence. And if you'd like to read and you need more information in depth of why it's called that, get that book, and it will explain it, and it really will help you understand what you're doing if this doesn't make sense. Okay, so I started out in Actionetics, which is part of ClickFunnels. There's also a link down there if you want to look into ClickFunnels. You need to make lots of decisions. And there is in the Edison Suite program, you have access to where you can put your emails in here. It's called Actionetics. This is where I started. Now I'm going to show you, back when I started here, I pretty much wasn't sure what I was doing, so I'm gonna tell you what I've learned from my mistakes. And I was just kind of picking products and, you know, here and there, throwing them in. Now what I suggest you do is come up with a plan. I use my email sequencing now as a education. Like, what is it I want to teach people? Why are they coming to me? In my situation, they're coming to me for affiliate marketing. So what are some of the things they need to know? They need to know how to have a platform. YouTube is my platform, so I can put some training on YouTube, and then I could sell them maybe vidIQ or TubeBuddy, tools that they need to do that. Then I can do email marketing, and then I can talk about autoresponders. I can talk about different places to find products and what affiliate marketing means. So you see what I'm saying? I suggest, whatever niche you're in, that you write down all the things that you want to teach them, put it in some kind of a cohesive order. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't overthink it. And then what I want you to do, now write this down, I want you to do it in sets of 3 when you go to sell something, but in between those times, I want you to teach. So the 2-3 concept, okay? So you've done your soap opera sequence, and now you're going to teach. So the next 2 emails, you're going to teach them something, and you might talk about, this is what I've learned, this is what I'm using, and then the next 3 you'll go, or maybe let me take that back, and the next 2 you're going to provide value and content. And what I mean by that, you might talk about your story leading into this product. Like I could be leading into email marketing, okay, and how important it is. Like the story I just told you, how I didn't understand in the beginning. And then I could, on my next 3 emails, these are the 3 that I'm going to sell. So then I'm really going to teach maybe with a video about the product. And then the next video, I'm going to try to sell it more, and then 3 really talk about the full value. So you've got 2 videos where you can talk about a story, part of your life, they want to get to know you, and you can also talk about, to encourage them, talk about things like mindset. You're not selling anything, that's the point. You go 2 videos, don't sell anything, give value, and the next 3, yes, I'm going to get you, or not get you, but load you up with one topic, one tool in 3 videos. And a lot of people will say, here's a video that I made on YouTube about how to set up your own YouTube channel. And then the next one might, and it might say, you know, some of the tools you might need are vidIQ. And of course they're like, well, I don't even know what that is. So the next one you might talk about that. Oh, I mentioned vidIQ that helps me with search engine optimization in my videos. Let me tell you all about that. So now you're really talking more in depth. Here it is again, and then do it again. Did you miss my last email? These are some of the results I got. And you might say, well, I don't have any results. Okay, then just talk about where you learned it and the results that you've seen other people get, and you're really excited about it. Or these are my results so far. I'm still new. So think of that, the 2-3 process. Now, as you can see over here, I wasn't quite like that. Like I have encouragement in here, but I should have probably done 2 videos like that. And then here I talked about the boss lady from ClickFunnels. She promotes ClickFunnels, and I talk about Kaylin and her story in these 3. And then I went down to landing pages, and see what I mean? There's not really a flow, and did my customers or my list care? They probably didn't even notice, because to be honest, when I get emails, I don't see a flow in a lot of people's emails. But I started thinking, I want them to really, now I really emphasize that in the beginning, like, I'm going to be teaching you this, and this through this sequence, and stick with me all the way through. And you can make your sequence as long as you want. This particular sequence, I think, went to 82 days and how many? 45 sequence emails? Okay, 42. And like I said, I restructured it. So learn that from me. Be structured when you start out. Now, when I did Udemy, I had two, I spelled it wrong there. I had two emails. Again, I would do three now. And I'll just open one up so you can see it. Just basically, I was telling them, hey, did you get my last email? I really talked in depth about email, so about Udemy. So here it's like, oh, did you get that? This is what I talked about. It's kind of like a reminder, and then I offer it again. And it's pretty, this particular one is pretty laid back. Sometimes I make them really long. So it's really, don't always be the same. Some people like to read. If it's good content, they're going to sit and read it, especially when you're telling a story. If it's a quick reminder, hey, did you forget about this? Check my last email. Now you might say, well, what is the purpose of the Seinfield versus the soap opera? The soap opera sequence, you're throwing yourself out there so that they can really get to know you. You're starting to build a relationship. And in your sequence, even though you are selling things, because this is where most of the sales happen. Can you believe it? I never knew that. It's like, are you kidding me? But this is where most of the sales happen, because people will not buy from you unless they know you, they like you, and they trust you. Not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. Not everybody's going to trust you, and that's okay. It's not. You would hope that they'd at least trust you. But most people will trust you because they like you. So if they don't like you, that just means they haven't connected to you. So if they unsubscribe, don't panic and don't feel like, oh no, I'm a failure. Everybody has people unsubscribe. I subscribe to great email lists a lot because I can't read all of them. And I noticed as I'm growing in my business, there's different people that I'm following. I'm growing, so I'm not following maybe those beginners like I did when I first started. I'm kind of moving my game up, if that makes sense. So you always want to follow people that are a little bit ahead of you, and clean out the ones that you're not reading anymore. Just unsubscribe to clean up your list. So what is the what are we doing in our value emails? Now I talked about selling like in 3 emails, but what are we doing in those value emails? You want to do things like talk about, like the one I showed you, I was talking about encouragement, which is good, but you might think about things. I always want to build trust, and I want to build credibility. I want to keep that relationship going. So one of the things you could talk about is your family. When you're telling a story, something that happened in your past, something that's going on now, but that's going to keep building up that like factor or get to know you factor. You want to keep that going. You don't want to just introduce yourself and then stop building that relationship. It's like a friendship, right? When you meet somebody, you just don't say, hi, here's my whole life story, and then walk away and never talk to them again. This is your way of relating to your prospects, your fans, or your, I don't know what you want to call them, but the people that are on your list, your tribe, I guess is what people say. And then credibility. You want to build your credibility. So as you get results, in the beginning, maybe you don't, but your credibility can be, you know what, I just got 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I'm so excited. Or, you know, I just had super engagement on one of my Facebook posts. So share your journey and be honest about where it's at. In fact, as I'm creating this, I did just hit 1,012, I think, on my channel, and it's very exciting. So there you go. Hopefully by the time you're seeing this, it'll be even higher. But the point is, share your journey and share your credibility. So as you start getting results, you can start, you know, flashing those up and saying, look, this is one of the products that I have that I'm promoting, and look at the results that I've gotten. So you see those people that have $10,000 a week, and it does happen. But if you're down here making, you know, $50 a week, that's that might excite you, but then it might also make you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there. Why bother? So that's why, again, you want to be that person where you're at, because people need you, if that makes sense. They need to see the little guy making it and then see that possibility of becoming the big guy. I got a fly on my thing there. All right, so that's all I have for today. One of the things I did want to share, that remember in my email sequence, I told you that I bring them in on the soap opera. Okay, everybody starts there, because everybody, I want them to know me. And then I have tags. And on my tag, I'm going to tag people from certain places as high Q or low Q. I like to call it a Q, Q-U-E, not quality. But you're going to have a list of people, especially when they're beginners. I was there. You don't want to spend money. You're getting into online marketing, and you keep hearing everybody say it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything in the sense that you don't have to go to the bank and borrow money, okay? But it does cost. You have to buy the tools that are going to help you build your business. I'm not going to lie to you. But in the beginning, you're going to be looking for the cheapest options, because that's just, you're like, I'm not putting out all that money. And as you build and you find qualified courses, you find qualified coaches, different things, that's another list of people who are in at a higher level, and they understand what they're getting into, and they're called high ticket purchasers. So they're going to purchase high ticket items over here, low ticket items. And you really don't want to waste your time with a high ticket item person trying to offer them a site called something from JV Zoo. Most of the training on there costs maybe $19 to $100. These people are ready to put out some money, and they're going to put out money from those high ticket guru people that are selling their stuff for $1,000, because they showed that they've made it. They're making $1 million. Well, of course you're going to want to buy a course from them, but you're not going to want to do that in the beginning. And to be honest, when you're new, you don't need to follow them yet. You need to get certain things in place, understand what you're doing, then start following them. And I know I'm getting off subject here, but I just want to really emphasize a lot of that. I just actually, that's been resonating with me, how people, I saw in a Facebook group, some of the people were getting confused about, who to follow, what to buy, and all that. And so I hope that helps you. If you're a beginner, it's okay if you're not buying everything out there, is what I'm trying to tell you. All right, so you know now how to make your Seinfield sequence. It's kind of like your life story. When you go to watch those shows on TV, right? You come in, you're getting to know the people, the characters, and then every week you follow them in their life and their story. And the only difference is you're selling something. So you have 2 times where you're giving value, and 3 times you're selling just one product. So line up what you want to sell. Now, when I first started doing this, I thought, I'm going to make a sequence that lasts 100 days or a whole year. And I don't think it needs to last that long. I think if you concisely come up with what am I trying to teach in the sequence? And if it ends up being 40, that's great. And then just stop it. All those people will still be in your queue. On your list, and then you can start sending different campaigns. And that's why sometimes you'll see somebody in your email list for a long time, for like 2 or 3 months and a lot, and all of a sudden they disappear, but then they pop in when they're trying to sell a course or something. And that's called a campaign. We're going to talk about that in another video. So lay that out. I really want you to think about it and lay it out. And if it's not perfect, don't worry about it. The neat thing about these email sequences is you can go back in and edit them. I've done it. Sometimes I had offered something and then decided I don't want to offer it anymore, and go delete. I can delete it. So it is something you're going to go in and edit and upgrade and stay on top of, but have a plan so that it makes sense. All right. I'll see you on the next training, and I get busy. You've got work to do. All right, we're going to talk about campaigns. You have your soap opera sequence. That's where everybody comes in, okay? And then after they go through that soap opera sequence, you're going to put them through your newsletter sequence, or your Seinfeld is what we call it. And that's basically what I like to do in my Seinfeld course or sequence. Is I like to teach them something as they're going through. I like it to run for about 3 months, and then in there, I plan it out ahead of time. Like, what is it exactly that I want to teach them as they're going through? And then I here and there put some software that I use, or different programs that I use and try to sell it. But again, I'm teaching as I go. So it's loaded with content. A campaign is when you're trying to do like a product launch. Sometimes you'll notice in your own emails that somebody all of a sudden will start talking about a new course that they found or a new course that they just made, and you'll start getting emails about that. That's the best time I can think about as a campaign. So you're doing a product launch or some kind of a course launch. And what you need to do is shut down or make all of your lists inactive, so that they're not getting emails from your other list and this list as well, because you really want them to focus on the one. If they see your name in their email list too much, they're going to want to unsubscribe, because it does get annoying. So go in, take the time and turn off all of your automations except for your soap opera, because you told people, hey, you're going to start hearing from me, and you don't want that to stop. So everything else though gets shut down. Once you do that, you're going to go over to the left and you're going to look for the little tab that says campaign. So now we're going to start a campaign. In a campaign, we're going to go through the campaign. Now you can use this crafting beautiful emails if you want from Active Campaign, but we're going to skip that for right now. But you're going to go to the top right hand corner and we're going to create a campaign. I am in a demo account, by the way. I just want to emphasize that. And you're going to give it a name, and we're just going to call it demo. And we're just going to, you can select the campaign type. It could be standard. Is a one-time email campaign. So I have done this. I usually call it a broadcast or a blast. Let's say something came up and there's a deadline, or you just want to put something out there. Maybe something happened in your life and you just want to share it and it's in the real time. That's a standard email. It's going to go out one time. Automated is you create custom sequences of email actions and conditions, just like your automation. That's the one that I want to use here today. There is another one over here, Autoresponder. It'll only send the campaign after they subscribe to something else. So you may have and I want to point this out, because you may have something like a small course that you're selling, or maybe you gave it away for free, and then after they go through it, at the end it might say, you might want to purchase the full course, and then it will automatically put them into the campaign. That might be an example, or they do something that's going to trigger them to go over there. But what we're going to do today is we're just going to make our own little mini automation, is what I want to call it. Okay, so we're going to do an automated campaign, and in this campaign we're going to create 5 emails. You typically want to create 2 to 5. I'm going to show you a sequence of 5 emails that seem to work. If you don't want to send 5, that's fine. You can, kind of change it up the way that works for you. But we're going to go over 5 different emails for this product launch or for this campaign. All right, I paused that for a minute because it was taking a while. I'll try not to make you sit through that. Okay, we're going to, it says there are triggers that select this action. Basically, now, another reason you want to send those 5 campaigns, because people don't buy the first time you send something. I know earlier I said you could send one little email out like a blast. Those are rare, and a lot of times I'll send those if something's just going on in my life and I wanted to share a story. Maybe I wanted to motivate or something like that. But typically, if I'm selling, I do a product launch, and I'll do 5. And typically people won't buy something unless they've been touched 7 times. So there's 5 touches. Hopefully they've been touched by a YouTube video, by something you said in Facebook, or something somebody else said. And by the time they get to you, you're hitting those, number 6 and 7. So people need to see it. They need to hear it, because they're not going to just impulsively buy. People, most people don't buy that way. All right. So there you are. There's campaigns. And next we're going to talk about, emails. We're going to actually build an email together. We're going to talk about the anatomy of a general email in your email sequences. There are certain things that you want to have in your email to help you to stand out from other people. You have to think about it. People are getting bombarded with emails, even though emails are still very successful in open rates and people clicking them. As far as looking at Twitter or Facebook or something like that, you still want to stand out from your competitors. So these are some features that you want to have. Now, I'm not going to pull up the demo account for the autoresponder because I want you to go over these 10 different tips and you can write them down. But number one is to have a good subject line. Now, what do I mean by that? Again, look at the ones that you're getting. What are the subject lines that catch your eyes? You know what has been catching my eye lately is when somebody puts an emoji there. I don't know why, but I just think that's cool because it's not happening a lot. So maybe once in every 10 emails, there's a little emoji and my eye goes right to that emoji. And then I choose whether I want it open or not, but you might say something like, I have a secret, and you could show someone, one of the little emojis doing this or something. You could say, we're celebrating and have fireworks or a cake or something. Well, celebrating what? Or I have a gift for you. Now, whatever subject line you have, I'm going to talk about it in another tip, but it does have to relate to what you're doing. You can't just bait people, pull them in, and then have that, and then the subject line has nothing to do with your content. So I just want to put that plug there first. All right, the next one, number 2, you want to personalize your emails. Typically, whenever I collect emails, I ask them to give me their email address. I also ask for their name. Now, if they put a funky name on there and they get an email coming to them with that funky name, I can't help that. That's going to happen, but I always use the name. I rarely don't put their name on there. And even though I do this, when I receive emails and it says, hey, Vanessa, I feel like that person's talking to me. It does trigger something when somebody uses your name. So I definitely do that. And people are more apt to read because they feel like it's personalized to them. Next, you want to make sure you're clear first, then catchy. And what I mean by that is don't go in and try to snowball people and go around the topic and try to catch them over here. Be very clear about what you're saying. Be upfront, and then maybe you can put some little catchy things in there after that, but people aren't going to feel like they're being tricked if you are clear right up front. And I did talk about this in the first one. Keep your subject line related to the copy. So if you say something like, I have a secret, then share a secret. My secret is blah, blah, blah. Or we're celebrating today. Today's my daughter's birthday. And in honor of her celebration, we decided to give 25% off of our blah, blah, blah. But make sure it all relates. Don't just say one thing in the subject line and then totally different in the content. You need to make it all flow. All right. Be relevant, show your authority, come across with confidence in what you're saying and what you know. That makes you more relevant. I like to use the word authority. It gives you credibility. That's the word I'm looking for. You want to come across with credibility so that people will listen to you. So make sure your words and everything are, use proper grammar, things like that, and make sure that you have an email coming across that somebody will read. And this is really important. Write in second person. Now, what does that mean, second person? You want to write in your email and use the pronouns you, your, and yours, okay? And that makes it more personalized, again, to that other person. You're here to help them. I'm here for you. This is for you. We are going to talk, this is going to help your family. It's not, what I'm offering you isn't helping me, it's helping you. And that's kind of how you want to come across. So you want to speak to them in that second person using those pronouns. This is probably the most important thing, is you want to showcase benefits and not features. So even if you're warming your audience up and building a relationship, you want to talk about the benefits of why they might want to follow you. What are the things that you're going to do for them? Stay away from features, especially when you get to a product. I know it's so hard, like if you have a new product that you've been using and then you start being an affiliate marketer for it, you want to tell everybody about all the cool stuff it does, but it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't trigger emotion. So you want to showcase the benefits. How's it going to help their life? How's it going to help their job? How's it going to help them make more money? That's what they're interested in. Those benefits are what trigger emotions, and that's what gets people to act. Keep it short. Now, I have to say, I typically like short emails myself, and it is proven scientifically that more people will read the short email over the long one. But I have one person that writes to me that is so phenomenal with telling stories, and she always writes like 3 paragraphs. It does, and I know that when I go to read it, it's going to take me a while, but her content is so good. I do read it, but it's rare. That's one person out of the several that I get. So I would agree that, keep it short, keep it precise, and get your point across, because people don't have a lot of time to read a lot. Now, if here and there you have a lot to say and you are a good writer and you get great clicks, open rates for it, then go for it. But don't make every single one of your emails long and lengthy, because people will just start to go, oh, I'm not going to open it. So put those short ones in there 95% of the time. And let you shine. Let your personality come through. I know it's so tempting as you're watching other marketers, the ones who are successful. Even though we want to watch what they do and we want to hack their, some of their techniques, you don't want to try to become them. People are going to follow you because they like you. And I've watched a couple of very popular marketers. I'm not going to say names, and I'm not going to say what this one person does, but this one person I follow has something that they say all the time, and it's their little tagline. And I've noticed 2 or 3 other people who are brand new trying to do the same thing, and it's kind of a turnoff. I'm thinking, that's not you, that's so-and-so. And again, I don't want to say names, but be yourself and try to catch yourself not doing that. Like, pay attention to yourself. I know sometimes you might like somebody and watch them a lot and then find yourself trying to copy them too much. So, pull yourself back and say, hey, I'm me. And if somebody follows me, they're going to follow me because of who I am. And that's the truth. So just be uniquely yourself. And last but not least, do not spam ever. Do not just, every email. Spamming would be every single email you're trying to sell something. You're not trying to take the time to show benefits and offer content and build a relationship, and you're just constantly trying to sell. Sure, you might sell something, but it's going to turn off a lot of people. And autoresponders don't like that. They'll shut you down, because that's not going to help their business at all either. So there's some tips for when you write your general emails. Next, I'm going to show you the anatomy of a sales email. It's a little bit different. These are the emails you're going to write in between. Remember, we talked about that. You're going to build relationships. You're going to provide value. You're going to give content. You're going to teach something. You're going to motivate, encourage, and things like that. You're writing letters. That's what I like to think of. I'm writing letters to help build somebody up. And then I'm going to come in with those sales emails, and we'll go over that one next. Okay, in this email, we're going to talk, or the lesson, we're going to talk about the structure of a sales email. You want to go with a certain flow. There's going to be 7 steps. Get out a piece of paper, write them down, because before you write your sales email, remember, about 20% of your emails are going to be sales emails. Use that 80-20 rule. It works pretty well. 7 steps. Before you put it into your email sequence, you want to make sure you're following that flow. And eventually it's just going to come to you naturally. But make sure your subject line is catchy. Again, it has to be something that people are going to be really curious about, and they're going to push the button and open the email. Now, with that, as I've said before, sometimes you can use an emoji, sometimes you can use the person's name, different things, but don't overuse that stuff, because it becomes old, if that makes sense. It's not as welcoming. My door over there just started opening. That was scary. Okay, then you want to make sure your first line flows from that subject line. So they have to be connected, and it still has to keep their interest. It has to be a really good hook. And normally, if you look in your emails, you can see that you can see the subject, and then you can see a little bit of the email. And sometimes you're like, I don't want that. Doesn't interest me. And other times you're like, I wonder where they're going with this. So you want to have a good hook. We use good hooks when we teach children how to read, especially reluctant readers. They don't want to pick up the book. So we, as teachers, we have to find really fun activities that are going to hook them into that story where they want to open the book and they want to read it. It's no different here. Think of yourself when you go to read a book. You've got to have a hook, something that makes you want to open it up and read it. That's what your email is like. So hooks that you can use is you could start out by talking about a problem that you have had, something that you've struggled with, and that might start leading them along. Or you could start with, have you struggled with? And that could say, yeah, I have. And it's going to make them keep going. So with that hook, you're going into that problem paragraph. You're telling your story, what it did for you, what you struggled with. And then at the end of that paragraph, the end of that story, you're going to give them a solution link. And then I use this. And you can say, just hit the link. You don't have to go into any details. Don't try to sell the features of the product. This is what I used, and this is what changed everything. Boom. They hit the link. It could lead them to a video. It could lead them to an affiliate link, whatever it is that you want to lead them to. If you want more information, it could be to a video that you've made on YouTube or something. So after that, you're going to give more details. So you might go into the benefits for them. I know that you've probably struggled with such A, B, and C as well. And this is what this is going to do for you. So now we're talking in second person. And in the first paragraph, I showed you what it did for me. Now I'm going to tell you what it's going to do for you. And that makes a difference when you turn that around. You're talking about the same thing. You're saying the same thing over, but in a different way, using that second person language. People want to know what's in it for me. I don't care how much it helped you. I want to know how it's going to help me. And that's when you're going to give that link again, the solution link, a second time. And then number 7, share some testimonials. And you don't have to go crazy. You could share one testimonial. I know some people, I have gone and looked at their products, and they'll have you hit a link of testimonials, and there's like 15 pages. And yes, it's impressive, but I don't think it's needed. I mean, sometimes to me it's overwhelming. Just keep it simple. The benefits that they're going to receive is what should convince them. And then you have that testimonial, 1 or 2 or 3. I wouldn't go crazy with it, but definitely give them. Think of all of this as a journey. You're getting them to click, open that email, read it, and then you're convincing them to buy. So there's 3 steps. They want to click, read, and convince. So basically that's your journey through the emails. Remember those 7 steps: subject line, first line, problem, paragraph, problem, solution, more of the problem, what is it going to do for them, solution, and testimonial. So it's really a nice little flow. And once you start doing it, it'll just become secondhand. Start writing. All right, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to build a live automation from scratch. As though we've never done it before, you're going to come in and do it. So the first thing you're going to do is hit automation. Now, before you've done this, you have your landing page set up. I use ClickFunnels. I have my landing page. Let's say I'm offering the free email course, and then there's an upsell within that funnel. When they're in the funnel, and they click and give me their email address, they're going to come to a list here. It's going to trigger it and tell them to come to this automation. Because in this automation, I'm going to tell them, thank you for getting the course. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. Now, when they come out of that ClickFunnels landing page, when they come out of it, they're going to get tagged. If they purchase the upsell, it's going to say purchased product. Okay? I don't have a upsell in my email marketing, but that's an example. We're using that because that makes sense. That's what we're talking about. Okay. So here they are. So we're going to create a new automation for them to come to, and we always start from scratch. Whoops. And the first thing you're going to do when you open it, they're going to say add a, how did they get here? The trigger is they subscribed to a list. The list is triggered on my ClickFunnels. It's integrated and it says go to this list from this funnel. I could have 10 different funnels, and each funnel might send them to a different list. And this would be called my email marketing list. Any list, I don't think I have that made, so we're just going to say the low Q list, okay? They're only going to get it once. So they got something for free, right? So I actually would call it email marketing course, free course, or something like that. What am I going to send? I'm going to send an email. And in this email, I'm going to give them the information so they can go get the free course. Okay, so this is triggering it. It's starting the email sequence. I'm going to pause this real quick while I create an email really fast. Well, it's not going to take that long. I'm just going to call it demo. There you are. All right, now after that, that's right, I have to use a template, and I'm going to call that demo, my subject line. Now after that, I'm going to wait 1 day. Okay, we're just going to save and exit. I can put my logo, I can do all kinds of stuff. You know, once you start playing with it, you'll know how to do it. Not a big deal. It says select the email. My email is called demo, so we're going to save that. Now I would probably call it, well, just something that's going to help you remember it. Okay, now we're going to say wait 1 day. So we have a condition. We're going to wait, and we're going to wait for a specified period of time. Wait for 1 day. Save. That's it. Wait 1 day before you send it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to split. Some of them have already purchased the product, so I pretty much can say thank you. That's the end of the sequence, and then I'm going to send them to my soap opera sequence and start them into my newsletter. So what we're going to do here is split, and it's called if what else. And yes, I want to split, set a condition, and if you go under, has option categories way down here, there's a tag. So if there's a tag that exists, and the tag might be purchased course. Let's say the purchase was purchase a YouTube course. If they have that tag, that's the condition. Okay. The people that did purchase will be on the yes side. Okay. And the people that did not are over here. So if they have that tag, then I don't want to keep sending them emails, and I'm just going to send them off to my soap opera sequence. The ones that say no, I'm going to send them another email. Oop, let's get out of that because I can just copy and paste up here. So we're going to send another email. And we're going to copy. We're going to move it and copy it one time. Okay. And over here, we're just going to have them go to the soap opera sequence. So they're going to stop. We're going to end the sequence. We're going to end their automation. And then over here, you can wait a day again. You can just kind of pick it up and drag it down. And when you let it go, usually just kind of, whoops. There, we're dragging it down. And we're going to move it and then copy it. And we're done. So basically, that little burger doesn't want to come down. Let's do that one more time. I don't know why it's not. Okay. So basically you can do this as many times as you want. You can keep saying, okay, split them again. The people that did purchase from the new email, send them to the soap opera sequence, and the ones that didn't, keep sending emails. And you can send as many as you want. Each time you send that email, remember we went through that sales campaign where you went through the 5 steps. That's how you want your emails to be, through that sequence, that template, the 5 different steps, so that you're kind of telling them, you know, your story, and you're telling them about the benefits and things like that. And you're going to work your way through. Once you've worked your way through those 5 steps, then you're going to end that automation and send them to the soap opera sequence. And that's basically it. So you need to take the time to build everything. It's there. Once you build it, you don't have to keep coming back, and that's where the passive automation part comes in. All right, I have one more email video for you after this, and then we're good to go. This is our last email in the email marketing course, and thank you for making it this far. I can tell you're serious about really wanting to build your business, and this is the most important place to have a successful business is to have that list, because those are your customers and they are yours. You take ownership of them. So we're going to talk about deliverability, and basically that means getting your email into the inbox. If you notice, look at your Gmail account, pull it up right now. You notice that some of your emails go in the inbox, some of them go in the promotion box, some go to the social box. I know with Outlook you have a clutter box, you have a spam folder, a clutter folder, spam folder. How do you make sure that your emails are getting into the inbox? And that's what I want to talk about now. There are 3 different things that I want you to pay attention to when you're creating your content. Number 1, make sure the content of your email doesn't have trigger words. Now, I'm not going to go over those here. I actually have a link below where I have an email marketing playlist on my YouTube channel. There's several YouTubes on there, and they go over words to avoid, and these are words that will trigger spam. Okay, and you will be surprised. Definitely Google it or look at those emails and avoid those words. And let me give you an example. If you start talking about how somebody can lose 50 pounds in a month or 10 pounds in a week, those are spam, because you're promising something to people that you can't guarantee. So with that in mind, you have to be very, very careful. So even if you're in affiliate marketing or making money online, those are sometimes just that word, make money online, can be a spam, a trigger that will put you in the spam box. So go look that up, make sure you're not using those words, and you can get creative in how you talk about making money. You can say, make some green stuff or something like that. All right, and number 2, if you have a lot of bad grammar in your content or in your subject line, that is a trigger to put you into spam. Could be considered a spammer. So be very, very careful. Make sure you clean it up and have good grammar. And number 3, I know everybody, affiliate marketing, you're told to start your email marketing list. That's where sales happen, but you never send people directly to the affiliate marketing link. That is considered spam. So if you're using JVZoo or ClickBank or something like that, where they're kind of on the alert anyway, those kinds of sites, because they are for affiliate marketing, they are pushing sales to people, then you're going to be considered spamming. So always send people to your website, and then you could have a blog or something, and then within that blog there could be a link, there could be you could send them to a YouTube channel, and then underneath there could be a link there that would send them to a funnel. So don't ever send people directly to an affiliate link. That's going to be considered spamming. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the analytics. These are, let's say you're doing those things, but maybe here and there, some of your emails might be marked as spam. Here are some other things to look for that will help you not be considered a spammer. Make sure you have an email authentication code put on your website, and you're like, well, what the heck is that? Where does it go? You can go to Fiverr.com, and there are people there that know how to do it. They'll charge you $5 or $10, and they'll go in and put a code. And basically that tells the autoresponders, it tells Google, Gmail, whoever in the back office there, it tells them that you are the owner of your email and you're not a big spamming operation. Okay, so it just authenticates your email address. You also want your email also ends up with a score. If you end up even accidentally spamming a lot, you're going to have a score marked against you, and you're going to kind of be watched, if that makes sense. So there's a system in place too that watches your IP address, it watches your computer, how much spam is going out from your computer, your IP address, and that can blacklist you as well. So be very, very careful. And the other one, this one you can notice, if you notice a lot of emails are bouncing back, make sure you clean out your folder. Maybe you have people that have been in there for 30 days. They've never opened an email. There is a way to check when you're using your autoresponder. They're going to give you analytics no matter what responder you use, and they're going to let you know how many people opened it, how many people actually clicked. If your open rate is 0 for some people and they've been in there 30 days, just delete them. And what it's going to do is make your percentages go up anyway, and that's what you want. You probably want at least a 30 to 40% open rate, and then about a 5 to 10% click rate. So that's something to strive for. So don't be a spammy marketer. You want to be a value-driven marketer. So again, make sure your emails are high quality and you're avoiding all those trigger words, make sure you ask people permission before you send them your newsletter, and then send them to your website. Don't ever send them directly to the affiliate link. All right, get busy, get your email sequences and automation built, and best of luck to you.